Well, hello there. Welcome back to a monthly stream. Here I am, Callum Johns. Yeah, I'm gonna chill for this one, but the main topic I thought I would talk about, and I mean the last one I planned out content, I didn't really plan this out, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, the topic can go around a bit anyway. And I thought I'd talk a bit about the casual EU fan stuff because it's something that came up last stream a little bit as well, and something that's probably quite relevant to especially getting an EU continuation in that way, and something probably fairly. When I see a lot of it, it sits on my heart, even if I don't interact with, say, the Twitter feed where someone's saying something about the EU and they don't really know the EU. And so I think that's one of the topics that I think I'll talk about. And we'll see where the night takes us. Well, the afternoon. Where the stream takes us. Change the terminology for streaming and do all of that stuff. See how it goes. But yes, I got my coffee. And we'll see how it goes. Because there's a bunch. There should theoretically be people watching. Because this is a time frame that works out for someone I know what will try and join. I was just hearing myself, so it's fun. I'll make sure to tweet this out. I probably should have done that earlier. But yeah, I'm happy to do other topics a bit as well, of course. But I thought this could be the main topic because I was trying to think of a topic I wanted to talk about on stream and to try and theme these so that they're structured. So anyone watching back as well can see it. But yeah, tweet this. Yeah. Goody. Like, I'm also gonna probably wait and see if a few more people can join. But if it's been a few minutes and people haven't, then I'm just gonna start on a bit of a rant, I guess you would call it. Actually, while I'm waiting, I probably should have a look and see if I can find at least examples of some things brought up that I think make it so annoying. I mean, I know the basic ones. But yeah. What do we got? Anyway, we're chilling on stream. If not much happens, then not much happens. I could be talking about anything. And no, I don't wonder how many people will rewatch it. Sound off in the chat if you're rewatching this later. I also have 2 viewers now. So that's cool. I'm chilling until I see a little bit of interaction in the chat. And, well, as I said, after a few minutes, I'll probably just start ranting. But I'm also trying to remember most of the things brought up. Well, I guess what I can just look at a bunch of the stuff. But a lot of this things that come up of reasons why the EU had to be decanonized and whatever, because that tends to be one of the things. Hey! So doing stuff on my second? Yeah, thanks. I did it on there we go. Shameless plug. Twitch stream. Couple of days ago, I did it live on Twitch just because I'm like, well, I'm going to cut my hair anyway. Why not? Well, casually for you. Okay, cool. We're going to get into it. Hi, Sentinel. What are causal EU fans? No, I guess you mean casual EU fans. So they're the people that call themselves EU fans, right? And what I really find is a lot of people call themselves EU fans and haven't really got a drive to read everything, or really just don't keep reading stuff. And while I myself am still taking a break and need to get back into it, I am going to get back into the comics soon. These, I think I noticed the most in how vocal some of them are on social media, because of course I don't really know others otherwise. Although, it's interesting, because I did meet someone that said they liked reading the books and whatever, but I mentioned something they didn't really know, that sort of thing. But yeah, what I'd say casual EU fans are the people that say they're EU fans because they like some of the EU, which is fine, because when at gatekeeping, we don't want them stop them enjoying the bits that they did enjoy, of course. But they have generally only read Heir to the Empire. They may have played KOTOR, they may have played The Force Unleashed. And not much past that. And that, yeah, I know, Heir to the Empire. That would be casual EU fans. Like, they enjoyed some of it, and then because they enjoyed some of that, they see the news of that EU was decanonized. What's going on over here? And they want to jump on the bandwagon of a movement that sort of doesn't really exist, but it's just a group of fans asking for more EU at the end of the day. Oh yeah. So one of the things that I thought I would bring up is the people that say they were EU fans. There's sort of this crossover with these casual EU fans. And hi CJH, I did see your comment. I might continue on my current topic at the moment, but I'll see if I can run back to that. We get this crossover between casual EU fans to then the ones that go on social media and proclaim to say, all of the EU sucked, or some of that. And it is like, bro, you didn't read it. Or it's also like, what did you read? I feel like some of them just claim that they read some stuff, and we can't really say, so we have to take them on their word. They just claim they read the stuff to have some sort of say on it when they don't really know, and they're just going off of some of those articles that want to paint the EU in a bad light, which is terrible. But hey, some of them tend to want to do that. And yeah, hi CJH. I wanted to finish my train of thought. I'm doing okay. It's not ideal here, but it's okay. That's probably... Look, I need to get better at my schedule and getting myself to do the things that I want to do. That's why I've only really been exporting my Twitch SWOTOR streams, because there's certain stuff that I've got ideas. Like my EU in review videos, I'm going to redo them, because a shorter 5-minute video that doesn't go into the details of what was in the book would appeal much more to a casual audience. casual EU fans again. Look, it connects together. An audience that doesn't have to read the book to understand my review, which would probably be more appealing and also less work for me in the long run. And I could just read the book and then give some thoughts on it. And I just need to still work out some key questions for that. And then I just need to ask myself those questions. But yeah. That's why I haven't been doing some content as consistently. I mean, it's just one of those things where I've been losing motivation to do a lot. And I've been sleeping instead of getting up and doing what I need to. But hey, hopefully that changes soon. I'm trying to get myself going and trying to find my own self-motivation for that. But yeah, on the casual EU fans. So we've got two definitions so far. Well, we've got two types of subgenre of casual EU fans, because there's some people that weigh in on like they just walk around, they don't talk on social media, and they've read maybe a little bit about it. And those are the people that use look, in person, everyone's fine. On social media, everyone is toxic. But hey, Miss Martin, Muses. Hey, Teresa, welcome. You're welcome to join as well if you want to. I mean, I changed that group chat to monthly streams, so if you want to go back in the group chat, it's fine because other people aren't even responding in it. And that's something else, casual fans. Need some videos about EU characters? Yeah. I tend to have gone away from a bunch of lore. Well, as I've said, I would need to do some research into stuff and plan it out properly, and I would need to find my niche in the EU sort of lore stuff, but I feel like that's something that I probably want to move into a bit more apart from my EU reviews, and I would hope that Matt Wilkins actually goes into that a bit as well, since he's finished his EU review series and that too. Oh, yeah, no worries, Teresa. I'll catch you then. Hey, Fenrir, nice to see you. Better time for you, I guess. Yeah. I mean, and that's totally fair as well. Because I guess that's another type of casual. I would almost say you're a casual overall EU fan in that case, but you're a hardcore fan about a specific era. And so, yeah, there's that little terminology change, because that goes, you may not know as much about other stuff in the timeline, but you know a lot about the prequel era. Which I think that's a big topic for a lot of people, the prequel era, because we get a lot of people interested in the Clone Wars, and I guess that popularity is why the 2008 series and the 2003 series were both set in those times. Well, the 2003 Genndy Tartakovsky one was George Lucas. But the popularity of the multimedia project and all that would have been why there was the 2008 series, because they saw it was popular. Hello, Pell. General Kenobi. Yeah, still don't know what this constitution is. Still never seen it. So I can't really approve it. Oh, my nose run. One sec. So can I play some blooming music in here? It feels really dry without music. I need to work this out on StreamYard, because I know that Zoom now has a function where you can share the computer sound and play music without having to share the screen. but I may have to share the screen. And let me know if you hear the music. There's my Star Wars YouTube friendly playlist. Actually, and that's interesting as well because I find Return of the Jedi, that's my favorite music. My favorite movie. I'm thinking about music again. uh, but Revenge of the Sith is a great movie. I need to rewatch the movies now that I know more about filmmaking. I haven't done a marathon in a while. I did one sort of last year, I think in May, but I need to do another one. And Empire, it's interesting how time flies. Empire's the most popular one, but it seems to be over time, the people I encounter, there's much more varied information about it. I do. Protector from the Monarch. I think I've been reading Solo Leveling on a side topic, which is a Korean comic, which is listed on manga sites and stuff anyway. It's been quite good, but I think of the Monarchs. I don't know if any of you have read it, but it's cool. I will recommend checking it out. And it's interesting how the story's going, especially at the moment. Dewey. But yeah, so you should be hearing the music. Just say yes or no so that I get a confirmation. Because this is my YouTube friendly playlist. On a side note here again, video game music generally does not get copyright claims. So I have a heap from Sales the Old Republic. I have KOTOR music, Republic Commando, Force Unleashed. There's from the original soundtrack versus that. Well, that's a Shadows of the Empire one. I don't know why the album cover went, but anyway. Yeah, there's a bunch there that doesn't get claimed. There is actually a lot of stories. What is my English doing today? There's a lot of stories in sort of the Rebellion era, and there's a few stories in the Imperial era, but I guess that whole part of it is, I don't know when Bad Batch is set, other than it was the planned season 7 of TCW, because I don't follow the new stuff. But yeah, that's also an interesting era for sure, seeing the aftermath of Order 66. But what was I saying? Casual EU fans. My train of thought gets sidetracked so much, but that's part of the joy of it, right? Is that we see. Let's go back to what it okay. Brain, get back on track. Because I didn't plan this out. I have nothing written down for it. It's just coming off the top of my head. The ones you never see, because they just read a little bit and didn't get super into it. They just walk around. You get some EU fans that I would call casual because they never interact with the fandom, and I'm sort of going more that way as well. So because a lot of the fandom tends to do really weird stuff sometimes and be quite, there's a lot of drama and clashing going on, I end up not interacting with a lot of it. But hey, because I'm still doing this, I'm still out there on YouTube and stuff. I guess that changes things a little bit in that way. But yeah, I should just center myself on here this way. That's easier. There's probably people that have been EU fans for ages, but then never interacted with the fandom, which I guess would be a separate sort of subgenre of EU fan. I would say they're hardcore because they actually still enjoy and read the EU, or maybe they have in the past and still remember a lot of it. But they're people that we don't see in the fandom because they just sit in their own continued life and enjoy it, which is fine. Oh yeah, that's great. For sure. Your Dark Times is really good, and the Jedi Purge. Yeah, epic moments, and there's some great stories told in that era too. And then before the Phantom Menace, Jedi Apprentice. Perfection. The best lead-in. Yeah, you mentioned Jedi Apprentice there, for sure. And I find that there's a bunch of stories sort of just before Phantom Menace, which all tie in fairly well together, like Assassin's Deception and stuff like that. Which it's been ages since I read them, but I'm still not finished my chronological read through of the novels, which I should get onto the next one because I keep taking time. Also, yeah, this is Muse _A_800B because I installed KOTOR 2 and then found the audio files in the game files. Which is funny. And I never renamed it properly. Because I've paid for KOTOR 2, technically, I'm fine to add the music to my library. But yeah, there's those fans. There's a bunch that don't interact on social medias. I would say there's also some people. Yes, Jedi Apprentice is so good. Yes, read it. So, okay, here we go. There's some people, when we're talking about casual EU fans, why not, that also decide not to read the junior novels because they feel like they don't want to read kids' books. I feel like that's a misconception of junior novels because, especially Star Wars wise, of course you get a mixed bag if you go outside and just general books. But Star Wars wise, Jedi Apprentice, Jedi Quest, Rebel Force, people love Junior and Jedi Knights as well. I've still got to get to them. And so much stuff there is so good that you'll be missing out. Galaxy of Fear, I actually really enjoyed. It Star Wars Goosebumps, yeah. You kind of know what you're getting into when you read the descriptions. But it's actually so good, and they connect some things in. There's even an appearance by Thrawn. They go to Dagobah. It was like, boom, they're doing this? Wow. I had to find them, wouldn't I? Yeah, I must have been lucky because I collected a bunch of the novels earlier. So there was a bunch of stuff that I found on eBay, or a good site is abebooks.com to find some more obscure stuff. You don't get lots on that, and actually the shipping will be better for you, but I get some really heavy shipping on some of them, so I have to sort of balance between what's the price of the book plus the price of the shipping when I'm looking at it. And oh yeah, I didn't know open air policy was live, Tim. It's like I say, actually, that's one of the things I guess I can bring up. I haven't talked a lot to other people in the fandom, and I think that's not completely my doing. Like, I'm in some group chats and stuff. My phone buzzed, so I put it on Do Not Disturb. I just feel like it's interesting in the fandom because we have people that have already formed their own niches. Oh, nice. It's where I live, folks. I mean, possibly. But also, I find that if I'm to join their streams or anything, a lot of the time I would have to talk to them and not them talk to me, which I find is a bit fun. So, yeah, that's fun times. Oh, look, there he is. That's cool. Yeah, Tim. And, oh, that went interesting on the screen share. But yeah, there's a bunch of that, which I find I don't want to every single time be chasing them to be keeping in contact. Because it's like, if it's with a friend, the phone works both ways is an older saying that my parents have said. And so there's that too. Xanos' story, Xanatos. Yes, I love Xanatos. It's cool. So stuff doesn't sell anymore, even the old. Yeah. Yes, that's another thing to bring up. Good, thanks for bringing that up on a casual EU fan stream. Star Wars as a fan. Okay, I'll do this part by part. Star Wars as a fan. Star Wars fandom as a fandom is pretty much non-existent now. I feel like we can't say that just the Star Wars fandom as a whole, because there's so much division inside of it. You get people that are EU fans. I should do it with this hand. EU fans that don't want to experience any of the new canon. You get people that do both. You get people that are new canon fans. That's just 3 sections. These 2 extremes, I really did that the wrong way around. The extremes of EU fan that doesn't want to experience new canon and new canon fan that doesn't want to experience EU. You can't find common ground between the 2. So there can't be an overall Star Wars fandom because of how different the timelines are, how things play out, how different the understanding of Star Wars is between the vision of current management Lucasfilm versus the original vision that Lucasfilm had with the EU over 37 years. And I find that really hard to talk to people as well. Like, there's a lot of people that you can, like, there's been people at one point, I tried a little bit, because people were saying, oh, interact with some of the other fans, talk about the EU, do all of that stuff. And I just couldn't, because we had nothing in common. Even the original Star Wars movies seem to be interpreted differently by different people. Yeah, exactly. Like, you talk about them about, you could talk about TCW, I guess, but that's a hot topic as well. Oh, here we go. Here's more subsections. Inside of the 3 main ones, you have inside EU fans, which I know a bit more. There's people that like TCW and keep it in the EU and are happy to talk about it. There's people that don't like TCW and completely get rid of it. And I mean, TCW is in seasons 1 to 6, of course, because they're the EU camping ones. And there's people that like arguing over it. Look, I feel bad for anyone new coming into Star Wars fandom and just seeing everyone arguing on the internet. Like, at one point, I tried to make a space for it on Facebook or something where people could just talk about both and don't have any of the stupid toxic behavior. It's ridiculous. You're 50-50 on TCW. Look, they have some good stories in it. And because of the extra material inside of the EU, we have tie-in novels like No Prisoners and Wild Space and that sort of stuff. There's nothing like we can't really just take it out. There's also references in Fate of the Jedi and stuff that I feel like can't be taken out. There's some good stories. It did cause a bunch of problems, so I think it's good. But I feel like, to at least personally to me, a lot of people overrate it that really seem to love it because they grew up with it. Yeah, I just do my own thing pretty much now. Like, I'm talking to you guys about this because this is a bit of an outlet for all these sorts as well. And I feel like I'm in a good place at the moment to be able to talk about it because I have been away from it a lot. Whereas if I was in the middle of some sort of drama concerning it, I would have a lot of things where emotion takes over. Right. The Star Wars stuff doesn't sell anymore. Like, I can understand, especially the new stuff, because the people that tend to follow the new stuff don't really get into a lot of the extra stuff. But even the old, I think by now, a lot of the where's my brain going? A lot of the original EU fans, the fans that want to collect everything, have already bought stuff because they've been re-energized in their motivation since 2014. Like me, I had a smaller collection, much smaller collection in 2016. And then now I have all of the adult novels and most of the junior novels. I think the only junior novels I'm missing is parts of the adaptations of the Clone Wars movie, which I haven't really got a huge motivation to collect the rest of. But they are also EU books because they only kept the cartoon, they didn't keep the books. So if they have anything different to the cartoon, even though they may be adaptations, well, that would also be EU only, which is why you can't just remove TCW from the EU, in my opinion. But yeah. The prequels are great already. They are what got me so interested in Star Wars because I saw them in the movies. Release the rest in 3D. They started with the Phantom Menace, and then I was like, awesome, I get to watch all of the movies in 3D, and then they never released the rest. And yeah, EU existed first. Look, I mean, the whole thing of it is that you need to... Oh, yeah, it's just not fun to talk to some people. TCW made the prequels good. I feel like that part is part of some of the... I think that's a different understanding between fans as well, because you go, the prequels need to be made good? What? Phantom Menace is great. I mean, of course, they have some flaws, and if I was writing the movie, I would do things differently, but that's also looking retrospectively. And different styles, different ways of doing things. I have actually tended to focus on the stories a lot more, especially with my budget the way it is. Because I can't buy everything. But yeah, I understand that too. Son of Dathomir, yeah, it's because it was still published by Dark Horse, to my understanding. And for sure, it's strangely part of both because it was released afterwards and it wasn't written. And yeah, it was based on unfinished season 6 and 7 stuff. They wrote it all before the decanonization. They didn't change anything. And so I was like... Well, they don't really care, do they? Technically, it's part of both. Still. They can't really rescind that once they've already said it. And yeah, both trilogies have flaws. For sure. Also, if you're wondering on the music side, there's a playlist on Souls Your Republic. SW, the Old Republic with no spaces, the YouTube channel. I don't know why they titled it that. It seems a bit unprofessional, but anyway. That is one of the things that they have a full playlist of the complete music of Souls Your Republic. That is well worth checking out because you have a heap of great Star Wars music that's EU. On a side note, listening to it. And yeah, I mean, they were planning like 8 or 9 seasons, weren't they, originally? So, because it was cancelled, it threw everything off. But I wonder what would have happened like between TCW and the EU if it was continued and the EU wasn't decanonized. That's the question as well. But we can only speculate because it didn't happen. We can't tell unless they already planned everything out, which they didn't. But yeah, casual EU fans. Am I going to say anything more about that? Oh. And this whole idea, the problem I have as well with the casual EU fans is I find that there's a bunch of people that say they want to talk about EU, or I try to talk to them about EU because they say they're EU fans, and then we just don't get anywhere. It's like I mention something to them and they go, huh? And don't really get anywhere because they don't know enough about it. Yeah, they were marketing rebels before the decanonization. Now, because of how quick the decanonization was, I feel like they would have released it if they kept the EU or not. That's something. But like in Star Wars Insider, if you have a look at some of the issues early 2014, you see the marketing Rebels and starting to build it up. And Filoni had plans for Rebels already. So I feel like that's what would have happened with Rebels. But it probably would have ended up similar to TCW in the way of not really factoring in all of the EU properly. Yeah, I did mention that earlier. That's pretty much it. And then, oh man, the subsection of EU fans that go, her duh, my Revan. They ruined it in the book and the SWOTOR. Yeah, okay. You may not be keen on what they did in the book and SWOTOR, but that doesn't mean it's not part of the story, you know? And like headcanon, yes, you can choose not to include them if you don't want to. But to have a conversation with another fan, and I find this is a social media thing as well, more than anything, just go, we have the common ground knowledge that this was the EU. This is what we're talking about. You may not like every single aspect of it, but this is the EU. Just talk about it in all its aspects in that way. The term canon. Yeah. Canon gets bandied around way too much because there's way too much important put on it, I think. Like it for people, I think the worst ones I've seen are the people that say it's not canon, therefore I don't want to read it. It's like, what does it matter? Just enjoy it and read it because there's a great timeline there. And like I have to say new canon every time I mention it because, well, lo and behold, we have what was originally part of the Star Wars timeline. Legends, and Legends is fine. I feel like they could clear up where it starts and stops, what is actually means a bit more. and that sort of stuff. Uh, yeah, possibly. I feel like because of fan backlash for TCW, they probably would have put a bit tighter continuity on Rebels, but you never know. Because remember, this is still new management Lucasfilm. So they probably may have still approached Star Wars in a similar way to what they're doing now. Just a little thought to throw out there. Yeah. I mean, there's no reason to be confused. They're clearly labeled Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3, Episode 4, 5, 6. The numbering helped. And chronological order. The show, look, just Wikipedia will tell you enough about the shows to understand, oh, it's there. Yeah, Ahsoka was ridiculous for Filoni. But hey, at least she wasn't ridiculous in TCW. So that is one of the things that... At least she just doesn't have an ending in the EU. Look, I'm a casual Star Wars fan. It's weird because I don't feel like I'm a casual Star Wars fan because I'm so into the EU. But at the same time, I'm also not at all interested in the new canon. So there is that. I guess there's... I put it separately now because there's the different types of fans that like new canon, they like EU, which is usually the two extremes. People I find a bit odd. The ones that like both, I haven't really talked to someone like that 100% to really get what they feel and understand of Star Wars. Yeah. Lots of videos about it. Look, just don't follow the people. They won't use Mara Jade. They'll reuse the name Mara Jade. And there will be a character called Mara Jade in the new canon, but it won't be the Mara Jade that we know because they are separate timelines. Yeah. Malachor 5 should have been in grave. I agree. In that case. Oh, Dad tried to call me. That's fine. I'll talk to him a little bit later. The far less material. Look, you can still have more material in the Clone Wars because it's so expansive. There are still Jedi like Oppo Rancisis that don't have really any material on them that you could have expanded upon. Even in the Clone Wars, like they tend to go, this show focuses on Obi-Wan and Anakin because people will watch it because they like those characters. Clone Wars Multimedia Project did it the other way around, where it's like snapshots of different Jedi that you wouldn't normally hear about in the main movies, which I think works really well. And you even see some Obi-Wan and Anakin and stuff in the Clone Wars Micro series. But there's still a lot of potential to cover different Jedi and all that at that time because there's so many of them. And so much will be going on because it's a whole war. But yes, there's far less material in the Imperial era. And then was in the Clone Wars Multimedia Project. And there's potential for more stories in a lot of places. Then yeah, that's pretty much thoughts on those. I was thinking something earlier and then we got sidetracked again because that happens and I haven't planned this out. Oh, they actually did live action Ahsoka. There you go. I feel like It's weird seeing a character that you've seen for so long as a cartoon come into live action. And that's just me. Like, cool. You see some in comics, like Quinlan Voss and Aura Singh and stuff that are added in. But especially for Alien, it's really weird. Yeah, okay, time travel. We opened the can of worms. We had time travel before. We had Celeste Morn being frozen in carbonite, being in stasis type thing, going through the timeline forwards in Vector in that comic series, which is cool. I like that. And we had in the EU, I think it was Crosscurrent, that also had, I still haven't read that one, but I know that it's time forwards rather than going back and forth and changing things in the past, which is fine. But you have to have limitations on it. Otherwise, it frozen. I mean, yeah, I was just going, if you're loosely using the term time travel. Because technically they're in stasis, they don't know what's going on around them. To them, it will feel like it's an instantaneous move forwards in time. But yeah, we Crosscurrent's the main one, I think. Well, I haven't watched Star Trek, so I wouldn't know. But I think that, what was it? I've heard that Crystal Star was a Star Trek story that was adapted into a Star Wars story. Yeah. They need limitations on it. And it shouldn't be a common thing that people just know, oh yeah, I can just go into the future willy-nilly. Yeah, no, there's only like one occurrence of proper time travel. Really. Oh, Star Trek is pretty good. Damn Trekkies, get off the Star Wars stream. I'm talking, need of water. Yeah, it's not a common thing. I'm thinking of something. I think I watched like 1 or 2 episodes on a plane of the old Star Trek. But of course, that's not the best place to start, is it? It's like saying to someone, start with classic Doctor Who. And it's a really old format, and you sort of need to have gotten into the series beforehand from the newest format to be able to really know what the series is. So there is that. And yeah, was there anything else? Lore videos. For lore videos as well, thinking of that again, I would probably need to go through and refresh and reread everything with those certain characters in them before talking about them as well, 100% in a lore video that I plan out. Because I don't want to use any secondhand sources. So that would take a fair bit of time too. But what I do hope to get out and motivate myself for doing soon is something pretty cool. It's fairly time intensive for me to get it right, but I just want to take my time with it and do well on doing a dramatic reading of Seeing Red, the newest short story from Star Wars: The Old Republic. And that's what I've been wanting to bring to the channel, is a possibility of doing that. It just takes a lot of time for me, so that wouldn't be a regular thing. But it's also a good way to proofread stuff. Yeah, it takes a lot of time. Lore videos. Like, I guess that's where we find that a lot of people that are the bigger lore channels just look at Wikipedia because it's a very time consuming. And like maybe if this was my full time job, I would be able to pour all of my time into it and do that sort of stuff. But it's not. And I don't think it ever will be. So I could talk about stuff that I know off the top of my head, or I can do research pretty easily. But yeah, I need a fanboys too. Well, that would be cool. Oh, here we have Magneto Alex.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Are we gonna see? I wish there was a way to resize that. Hang on. Anyway, doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I don't know how long I can be on for because I got work tomorrow pretty early, but I'll see what's up with that. I'll stay for a bit.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Fanboys too. It was. I also noticed the script was written by the same person that wrote the script for Ready Player One, which is interesting. But yeah, are there any thoughts that you want to talk about
We're
particularly,
casual fans.
or anything we've talked about really?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. You had mentioned doing a stream, and I got into a conversation with my friend like just the other day about it in person, like just in general with fandoms, and I try to give like a
Hmm.
3-tier list of like how it goes. So I gave it like casual fan, I had fan, and then I had hardcore fan, and
Hmm.
all those were kind of broad, and you could fit a lot into those categories. But I said like the basic thing with the casual fan is, for example, my best friend's youngest brother has watched all the Harry Potter films multiple times, can't remember a
Hmm.
thing about them. That's a casual fan. He likes them. He enjoys
Yeah.
watching them, but clearly he's not a fan enough to care to remember the plot of the movies or
Yeah.
books that he's read. So, and then a fan would just be anyone that enjoys anything. So like, and then I went to every single one of his family members because I had to be right. And so I I went to I went to his dad and I asked him the same thing about my tier, and he said, "Well, I watch Groundhog Day like every year. Does that count as like a as a hardcore fan or a fan?" Or like I think that would count as a hardcore fan because even though it's just one movie, it's not a franchise. You like religiously watch it every year on
Hmm.
Groundhog Day. So I think that counts. But yeah, I try to do a little category for that. And casual fan isn't a bad term. It's just like, yeah,
No.
you enjoy stuff, but you don't like get super invested into it,
And,
which is
and
fine.
I found that it's also a thing of like, oh, when I was still talking to some fans of the new canon, there was especially one fan that I'd ask questions of like, what did you think of this plot point in this particular part? And they'd just go, well, I just don't think about it. I'm like, how?
Yeah. Like if I've read like an entire series or something or a book, I may not remember every single detail. I think that's a little crazy, but I usually
Mm,
remember the general plot of it. Like I just
yeah.
finished the book Dune. And so that is a huge 800-page book. I
Mm,
could give you the overall gist of it. I'm not going to be able to tell you everything that happened on every single page.
yeah. Unless
Right.
you've got a photographic memory or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not gifted with that. So
Yeah.
uh, right now I'm on Cloak of
But yeah.
Deception, and I what I distinctly remember is seeing a reference to Jedi Apprentice. So I was very happy because I was
Yeah,
like, and I
nice.
said that in the group chat, but
Whoa! It's J-Land! Whoa! Finally caught a stream! Whoa! On YouTube! Whoa! Hey! So that's a guy that has been on my Twitch streams a fair bit in the past, and then he shifted places and time zones was funky.
oh yeah, I imagine that'd be difficult.
You gave definitions for casual fan and fan. What would you say for hardcore fan then?
I think a hardcore fan is if it's like a movie or a series, you watch it multiple times and like you just have to you have to like be really into it. So like with a fan, I didn't give like a clear definition. A fan is just anyone who doesn't matter if it's a single movie, a franchise, a book, or something that involves all three of those, like the Star Wars. Um, you just have to be moderately more interested in it than just, oh yeah, that was fine, it was cool. Like you have to like be like, no, I loved it. I think that would
Yeah.
count as a fan. And a hardcore fan is someone that would pick up like a lot of extra things that they don't need, like I don't know, Minecraft players that
Mhm.
get some Minecraft mugs or something, or they just spend a lot of time in Minecraft. Or if it's Star Wars, you buy, and this counts for Disney fans too. I'm not going to say they're not hardcore fans. If
Mhm.
they're buying the High Republic novels and playing Jedi Knight Fallen Order and everything, like those are, if they're trying to get all the material they can for Disney canon stuff, that still counts as a hardcore fan,
Yeah.
because they're
I just
going beyond
stipulate
the
they're a
movies.
hardcore new canon fan
Yeah,
because of the way things work.
yeah, yeah, and that's cool. That's fine.
Yeah, nothing against people. It's just and they're just ways to determine what level of fan you are. I don't see anything wrong with being any of them.
I think it's because of
Oh
gamer
yeah,
culture. Because it's gamer
yeah, true.
culture that says filthy casual. So,
Yeah, parry this, you filthy casual. Yeah,
yeah. Like Dark Souls, they say get good. The problem is,
yeah,
I go to work, I deal with personal stuff, and when I get off work, if I'm gonna play a game, I want to have fun. I don't want to. I don't want
yeah.
to have to want to in my head want to kill myself every 5 minutes because I suck at video games.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess that's the difference between the types of games as well. Like, if you're
yeah,
wanting that kind of experience after work or whatever, just don't play Dark Souls.
yeah, yeah.
I feel
Dark
like,
Souls is work.
yeah. I feel like when you talk about extremist fans, it just sounds like people on social media in general.
Yeah, like
Because
Plinkett.
yeah,
Plinkett with
I
his
know.
hate toward the
I even,
prequels.
I don't tend to just say names, but
Yeah, well,
specifically, like when Wonder Woman 84 came out,
mm,
people say they love it, others say they hate it. No
yeah,
one really says I enjoyed it, but it has some flaws.
yeah.
And
I
that's a
haven't.
whole internet culture thing, I feel like, more
Yeah,
than a particular fan thing. And
yeah,
then people are just strongly opinionated about things like TCW and stuff, which, yeah, if you're going into TCW and the Clone Wars era so much that you can list everything off the top of your head, then that might be going a bit too
I
far.
think they might need help because there's so much.
Yeah,
Like it's gonna
yeah.
be so. The only thing that's gonna keep me slightly sane is your timeline when I get to it because there's so much,
Mm.
and even
I
that
got
might be
help with that
following
as
too.
well. I'm not touching that until I reach it with all the material chronologically. So I
Right.
got Evan to help work on that at the time. He has said that he's looked into it a lot, but I think even he hasn't read everything himself. So that's also a thing, like why I will revise my timeline as I go, because
Yeah.
I still need to read through every single thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun to like what you like, be that whatever you like about the franchise.
Yeah.
For sure. Don't let social media be the place that dictates your fun for the franchise.
Yeah. It was a huge thing though with the early YouTube with the hate on the prequels, and I think a lot of people like myself watched those videos and we're like, oh man, they're right. Those prequels sucked this whole time. We were just ignorant. We didn't
Mm.
realize the truth. And you know, you allow the internet to kind of like warp your view of things, and you go back and
Yeah.
you're an adult and you can form your own opinions and stuff, and you go back and watch. You're like, this is fantastic. I don't know what the fudge you're talking about. They're completely wrong, at least in
Yeah.
my opinion. But um, you know, so it's definitely a thing with social media that happens.
Yeah, for sure. And it's for anything. It's not just Star Wars. So I would call
Yeah,
the extremists, they're just extremists on social media. Because it's also a thing of like, talk to people in person and everyone's chill.
exactly. Yeah. It's a lot easier to say a lot of stuff in a online than it is to like be sitting next to somebody and say those same exact things. Because now
Yeah,
now they're real. They're in front of you. So
yeah. I tend to lump these gatekeeping people in with the people that are extremists a bit. But that's also stuff in the EU fandom of like people that don't like TCW trashing people for not liking for liking it and keeping it in the EU.
it's
Or that
like
I
with
know there's a particular person that just says, "Oh, the Bantam era is canon to me, nothing else."
oh no.
Stuff like
I
that
mean
is
that
crazy to me.
I would just say that's cool for you. I'm just gonna follow what the Legends timeline says is
And
happened.
I I just go,
So
"That's cool. That's your head canon."
yeah, I really see like I can't
If
do
you
that.
want to
Like
talk about that stuff, let's talk about that stuff. I'll know not
yeah,
to talk about the other stuff with you.
yeah, yeah. I understand people that want to like mix canons and stuff. But like, well, it's all fiction, so it's whatever you want in your head,
Mm,
which is fair. But there's gonna be a point where like you're trying to mix the canons and something
yeah.
that you don't think is a contradiction ends up being one, and it's just like a whole mess where it's like just keep like I understand enjoying both. I just can't understand mixing them though. Like
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah. It's just
you're not a
bad
real
enough
fan
as it
because you
is.
like or hate so stories or like so and so.
Oh no, you're not a real fan because you like I had so sorry, I like so and so. No,
Or
no.
you're a fan who says who throws gatekeeping around, and then you
Yeah.
realize that you're the gatekeeper because you're throwing that word around, trying to say that anybody who
I,
doesn't agree with you
yeah.
is a gatekeeper.
Gatekeeping is
Yeah,
interesting because in some way I understand the perspective of certain people, especially the casual EU fans, should not be weighing in on saying the EU sucked
yeah.
because they have only read certain tiny bits of it.
Like I saw a comment this the other day. Somebody said most of the EU was like absolutely utter garbage, like just completely terrible. There was a few like really good ones, but most of them were absolutely dog crap. And I'm like, I
Yeah,
I want to bet $1 million you haven't read everything in the EU. You've read a couple things and you made your opinion and then you left it and now you're making a statement that all of it's bad when you know that's not
yeah,
true because you haven't read all of it. Just say the stuff I read was bad. Don't lie and say that all of it was
yeah.
bad.
And then people will be like, "What have you read?" And you'll
Yeah.
be like, yeah, I kind of just read one of those articles trashing the EU."
Yeah, Boba Fett like has contradictory backstories. Like he has like 6 different backstories, man. Like he's so stupid. He came out
Yeah.
with he came out with a Sarlacc pit. That's so stupid. Mandalorian. He's still alive in the Mandalorian too.
Mm,
Oopsie doopsie.
yeah. This is a good point. I think what's really cool about the EU is that a lot of the authors were fans as well.
Yeah,
And so you see them doing things for those hardcore fans that will pick up the connections and everything.
yeah, that's really weird. I
And
think I
that's one
see
of the
what
things I really love.
it seems like some of the people writing new canon, and it's fine if you like it. It's just I've noticed there's a lot of them that like maybe they've watched the movies, which is fine because that was a lot of the EU authors too. But it seems like a
Mm,
lot of them don't actually know a lot about Star Wars, but now they're
yeah.
getting into writing and
And
they're
a
writing
lot
for
of
Star
the
Wars.
EU authors as well, like Jason Fry and stuff, would actually go into the background and look into what they can connect together, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the West End game stuff early on was pushed by the authors to do, and so that's what pushed Leland Chi to create the Holocron, especially by George Lucas saying, "Oh yeah, what about these West End Games short story things?"
Yeah.
All the EU was garbage. We only read the one thing. Yeah,
I read Into the Void. I mean, I understand.
yeah.
If someone stopped said
I
all
do
EU's
like
garbage,
how we see a bit of Jedi alchemy in it, though.
that's fair. Yeah. There's a lot of cool
There's
things.
some
No,
good bits in it,
yeah.
even though
There's
overall it's just really weird
yeah,
because you're
there's a
like
lot of cool
half of the novel,
concepts.
what's going on? Yeah.
If there had been multiple books, it could have been something.
Mm,
I can't with that first one. And it's okay if people
mm.
disagree, but I can't. I tried. I really tried because I didn't want Matt Wilkins to influence my opinion. So I tried to shut out his video as much as I could. I'm like, I'm gonna go into this blind and I'm gonna see for myself. And I'm like, oh my god, I can't. But
Oh yeah, this music. Star Wars Demolition, the PlayStation 1 game. If you put it into your computer, it's a CD with music. If you didn't know. So that's where some of this is Hoth, the ones done by Black Hole Stormtrooper, which would also be a reference to, like, I'm thinking of Shadows of Mindor and stuff, which is cool. Because that's the metadata that was on it. Yeah, I know. And
yeah.
they're hypocritical too. All the e-audiobooks. I've downloaded some, but I just tend not to listen to audiobooks as much because I like sitting down with a book and reading it.
Also, the thing with
And
audiobooks is that the voice is slower than my reading ability is, so it just gets annoying.
and also, I don't really have a commute, especially now. Like, it would have been okay if I had my normal commute of 15 minutes into college and the start and the end of the day. But now, yeah, I don't really go anywhere because I'm not allowed to.
I think my favorite EU book is probably, or not EU book, EU audiobook is probably Heir to the Empire. I saw someone playing KOTOR and they called the crystals Odantuan Kyber crystals.
When it literally says that they're different crystals in the game.
Well, sometimes attention to detail is really hard.
Yeah, it is. And actually, that was the topic as was talked about in one of the groups I'm in at one point, or one of the group chats, I think, is that someone trying to say that it could be a catch-all term in the EU, and I'm like, no, nothing says that. Nothing says that. We have the Kyber crystal, Kaiberr, but that works very differently. And it's interesting, I Splinter of the Mind's Eye had the comic come out and smooth some things out. But yeah, it's good. Yeah, anything else you wanted to talk about particularly?
No, I'm not sure exactly.
That's all right. I was like, there was a silence there. I don't mind some silence, but we probably should be talking since we're on stream.
Yeah, that's fair. Star Wars in particular, Star Wars movies, audiobook feels like a good medium between book and big screen. But yeah, that's fair. I think
that's fair. Yeah.
I think the reason I really enjoyed the Heir to the Empire one was because that one especially really feels like the next trilogy you would see, and so I really enjoyed it. I also really like Mark Thompson's voice for Thrawn. I much prefer it, even though I heard the Rebels Thrawn voice first, and I never cared for it. Like, it's not like I'm a EU fan that's blinded by nostalgia. I can't enjoy this new Thrawn and voice, but I didn't like the like slow, soft whisper thing he had going for him, and I much prefer the like kind of deeper, sophisticated voice you hear in the Mark Thompson audiobook.
Yeah, I like the radio dramas actually, especially for like Dark Lords of the Sith and stuff. They've been awesome, especially with different voices and all that. But I just I've always liked reading more, especially the novels and stuff, because like when I was younger, I would be the kid they would have to say, stop reading and do what we asked you to do. So I've always been a bit more of a novels person, and in my mind as well, that I guess that influences how I think of a lot of where I rank what details supersede what, because I find that like the movies, of course, the books came out before the movies, so they're based off an earlier version of the script. But for a lot of other stuff, like The Force Unleashed, the details of the book supersede the video game.
Yeah. Which is why when people are like overpowered characters, it gets really annoying, because it's like, if you just read the novel, it explains it.
Oh yeah, that's what the casual Star Wars fans say too. They're like, The Starkiller was overpowered.
And then they're like, but there's a hierarchy to canon, and
Yeah,
whatever the novel says
and
outweighs the video game. The video game wanted to be
and
fun,
and the
so
video game obviously just amped everything up to be the Force unleashed. It's not like it's gonna be, oh yeah, the Force tame. The
yeah.
Force tame.
I mean, I guess if it was a bit more like Jedi Fallen Order, maybe people wouldn't have complained as much. But
yeah.
Starkiller is supposed
Have
to be like extremely
you?
powerful, so
Yeah, for sure. And I mean that makes sense for the story for sure.
I mean, he's trained by Darth
Yeah.
Vader, so I'd imagine. So
Gameplay mechanics have always been non-canon, exactly.
yeah,
It's like, how do particular stormtroopers get up to that ledge that you can only force jump up to?
yeah. Well, when you're playing KOTOR,
As well.
you don't think that when you're playing a game that in the actual Star Wars universe there was a bunch of menus that were just following Revan the whole time, and you press a med
Yeah.
kit, and like that button was actually pressed in the universe. Like there's some ethereal being pressing the button for Revan. Like, oh my gosh, this is earth shattering for the universe.
That could be an interesting game though if they actually incorporated that into a story in an RPG.
Maybe
You'd
like
have to execute it right.
acknowledging the player actually being a thing in the universe. That would be crazy. Yeah. I mean, the closest thing I can think of.
This topic, yeah.
I was gonna say the closest thing.
Ahead.
No, yeah, it's okay. The closest thing I can think of in a video game that's done that wasn't really like acknowledging you necessarily, but you have you played BioShock?
Yes.
There's a whole twist like near the end of the game, and while it's not exactly saying like the person playing the game has been influencing things, it's like using what you assume a video game is supposed to be like, twisting it on your head. So, but that's the closest thing I can think of. I don't think there's any like real acknowledging that there's an actual player controlling the protagonist and the. Oh, actually, well, it still isn't. But in Assassin's Creed, there is a scene in the second game where NCO, who's one of the assassin guys, is talking to this. There's this whole thing with these like ancient people who are like more advanced, but they're older, and they dine off. And there's a part where she tells NCO to shut up because she's not trying to talk to him. She's trying to talk through him because she's actually trying to talk to Desmond. Desmond is the main character of the earlier on of the Assassin's Creed games, because the whole thing with Assassin's Creed is that like in this machine you can through DNA visit your ancestors' memories or whatever. But I thought that was really crazy that they did that. But other than that, sorry, I didn't mean to derail your stream. But.
No, that's fine. That's cool. I was just like, I better do it before I lose a comment in the chat. Because it can be a next topic sort of thing. Have you read some of the new short stories put on SWTOR.com, CJH? They're also put on Steam as well, which is nice because then I can see the blog come up. Because we're getting some new SWTOR stories.
Yeah, they're all right. I mean, they're short stories, but
they're all right. And it depends who writes them, basically, on how good they are. I didn't mind either of the newest ones. Like, Quite a Story to Tell was fun, but I feel like that needed more context of actually playing the game to understand what was going on in between. Compared to the Seeing Red, which you don't really need context for. You can just read it and enjoy a nice little Mandalorian short story.
Yeah.
But as far as... Well, we can see some things like Marvel Star Wars 108 put in some stuff, and it's like... Why? But I feel like they're also going to only... It feels like... I'm repeating myself. But they use a lot of them. So for putting Valence in 108 and Dominic Targan, that they then went, you like these characters? We put a new EU comic out. Oh, look, we've got new canon comics with these characters too. and it feels like they could have done a much better story. So something even in comic form in 108, maybe even doing a story retcon of what happened with the Toff War in 107, because it seems like an alternate timeline still. It
Oh, you mean
feels
the whole
like that
thing?
when you're reading it.
I mean, I know that the what was it, the Guide to Warfare explained why they don't really
Yeah,
mention it. So I mean,
I
it's
did
been
explain it.
addressed. So
But like, I tend not to read source books as much as well,
yeah.
and I like to see some sort of
Well, I think
explanation
that
in a
one's more of a
story.
story. I think that one's more of
Yeah,
like you actually have like
it's
a
a
admiral
short
guy, like
story, I think.
yeah.
I just still haven't read through all the short
And
stories.
I think like the Jedi versus Sith like one, the Essential Guide or whatever, is like Tion like writing this whole thing like after the events of Legacy or Legacy of the Force. So
Hey, Alformo.
like if it's not just information, I'm more down to read source books. Like if there's
Yeah,
actually
for
like a
sure.
sort of story in there, then I'm
They
down.
tend to
But
feel a bit dry for me when they're just information.
yeah, yeah,
Like, at one point, I was like, oh, the Guide to Warfare, that's just a ready-made script to read off for a lore video.
yeah,
But then I'm just like, a lot of effort.
yeah.
Because if I'm doing that, I probably want to make the custom graphics and everything for it. And I'm like, this is a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff with, like, people don't trust the new authors to write EU stuff either, but I feel like what would work really well is if they just went with the comics and got Dark Horse to do comics.
Team
That is
Ostrander.
there's no extra pressure put on Marvel to put out more comics, and there's no extra pressure on Del Rey to fulfill, we need more books than the current quota sort of thing, or replace a new canon book with a EU book.
I don't know why it couldn't work though, because like literally so many franchises have the like multiple like continuities and stories going on, and
Because they're
people
pig-headed. Because they're
yeah,
pig.
yeah. It's honestly just more money for them because it would sell. It would. And you'd still have all the TV shows and stuff making you money and all the comic books for the new canon stuff. So you have Disney fans who are happy, okay? And because the biggest complaints or the biggest fights you see between new canon fans and Legends fans is because a lot of times it gets misconstrued as being like, oh, you want to like erase the new canon, or you're so
Which there are
like,
people that do say that.
yeah, sure, there's some. But
But
the
that's
vast
the
majority that I've
extremists
heard
again.
of is just, hey, you have this new canon stuff. You get to enjoy new content constantly, but I have no personal interest. So it'd be nice if we could both have something that we really enjoy continued, and then there's no argument anymore because you're both getting new
Yeah, for
content.
sure.
But
And they can just test the waters if they want to release, Escape from Dagu, something like that, and go,
yeah,
how popular will this be?
it will.
Especially when we see Heart of the Jedi on Amazon topping some charts at points.
So true.
Where, compared to especially the new canon book that would come out.
Yeah.
So it's like, But they seem to, instead of being more financially minded as a business, they seem to be more, they want to do things their way comparatively. So that's the whole thing. I think that's changing it up.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely think it can work though if it's done right.
Yeah.
I don't think
Easily.
it's time to give
I
up
think
yet.
they just need to make sure that things go through the continuity editor properly. Because
Yeah.
they don't seem to be doing that at all now.
Right, if you just get like who's still alive? We got Stackpole. You just get like maybe Stackpole, maybe James Lucino, Matthew Stover. You just get them. Maybe Drew Karpyshyn as well.
I don't mind as well if they have some new authors come in, because eventually people will die of old age, and that's
I
the
don't mind that
cycle
so
of
long as they're
life.
actually fans of Legends. I don't want somebody who doesn't know anything about Legends writing for it.
And I
want them to
don't
genuinely
mind as
care.
long as they write good stories.
Yeah, Well, and ones that aren't
That's the
contradictory.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that tends to happen, doesn't
And
it?
I swear, any new author, if we do ever get new EU stories, do not write in the Rebellion era. You have so much other stuff to work off of.
There's too
Please.
much. The Clone Wars, as I said, still has a lot of potential for different Jedi you could write about if you feel so inclined to put more Clone Wars content in
There's a
there.
lot of potential to just fix the continuity issues between different things that you could do
Yeah.
by writing a story that fixed all of it,
Yeah.
like Death Star did for the Death
And then
Star.
it has an official stamp on it of going, this was officially released from Lucasfilm, and also this solves things that happened between these stories.
Yeah. That'd be cool, actually.
Rather than just, yeah, Leland Shee made some retcons, but then he sort of was waiting for the end of TCW, and then everything got cancelled.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's, yeah, unfortunate in that way.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Darth Maul's the whole thing in TCW? I know a lot of people don't like Darth Maul returning.
I'm not too keen on it, but I tend to rationalize it a bit because I don't see him being as powerful as he was before mentally. I feel like it permanently scarred his brain still, and that's why he's so talkative and sort of a different personality than we see in previous EU stuff.
I kind of get that. I mean, I like it for the most part. I think Sam Witwer's like whole performance is really good in the show. I think, and
he's just a lot more talkative.
well, I've been reading everything in chronological order, and so I've read both the Darth Maul short stories. I've read, bits and pieces of Plagueis because I'm trying to follow it chronologically. And if you're reading it chronologically, Maul's listening and paying attention to everything that Sidious does. Like, he makes comments in his head when he sees how Palpatine's manipulating events. And he's like categorizing that in the back of his head. So the fact that he's able to come up with like these plans and is rather intelligent in TCW, like, because people are like, oh, he's supposed to be like this beast, this ultimate warrior, but he's not like super into the like planning stuff. I'm like, well, if we're reading the stories, he's paying attention, and there are a few stories where he talks quite a bit, not like super duper like a lot, but also you can't, if you're gonna bring him back, which they already made the decision to, you can't have him be silent the entire time.
Like, not the way that they.
He was a nothing character in episode 1 before the EU. He was just there, and he fought the good guys, and he died. So I think the EU fleshed him out first with all the stuff that took place before episode 1. But I also think that, like, you're right that he was kind of crazy for a long time because he was stuck down in that place alone for so long.
I just feel like his mind never properly fully recovered.
I agree with that.
All the Dathomirian magic and all that.
I just think that, like, when it comes to him, like, being able to, like, make all these schemes and stuff, I think he just learned from his master, and so he's retaining that part of it.
Yeah, I don't see a particular huge problem with that he was able to scheme and all that.
Yeah.
It's just some of the things of, like, why
Also,
isn't he still dead? Yeah, why isn't he still dead?
Well, with what they did with it, I thought it was cool. I also think it's really interesting. I read Darth Maul Saboteur, and so I was this thought just popped up in my mind when I was reading. I was like, he's like a pre-Mara Jade, because pretty much everything he does is like this assassin, like, behind the scenes sort of thing before episode 1, and that's basically what Mara does, like, all the time when she's the Emperor's hand. So I thought it was really interesting how he's kind of like a precursor to that.
Yeah, like they're both tools that Sidious uses to be able to do stuff that he doesn't go and do himself.
Yeah, well, because like the thing with Vader was like the enforcer. Like, you just have him show up and start busting down doors. With Mara Jade, that's when you're like, I can't do that politically. I can't just have Vader going and smashing down doors. So I need to do this a little bit more delicately. So I get an assassin like Lady Mara Jade to do that for me.
Now I kind of want a story where he puts both of them on the same assignment.
Maul and Mara Jade.
Mara Jade and Vader.
Oh, yeah. that would be fun if Timothy Zahn did that. I mean, we had little bits of them talking,
Yeah,
in like Allegiance and Choices of One. They clearly don't really care for each other, but
yeah.
um,
But it'd
they
be
very
funny
much
if
dislike each
Palpatine
other.
just goes, "This is a competition,"
Yeah,
but doesn't really tell them. He
yeah,
just
yeah,
goes, "Here's your assignment,"
yeah, and they're both there.
and in some way he's going, "Oh well, Vader's a distraction while Mara's actually stealing something important that I wanted," or something like that.
Yeah, that could be kind of cool.
There's a plot for a story. There you go.
There you go. We thought up of it in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
The worst thing though about those books though is just the freaking having Luke and everyone in it. It's stupid. Like,
Yeah, I
other
was
than that,
like, do you have to have the big part of the big three in every single story?
no. Well, then the thing is too, like, Zahn was like had a really big heart on for like making Luke and Mara almost meet, and it's like, bro, you wrote the Thrawn trilogy. We know that she can't meet him
Yeah, I know.
till that trilogy. But then he like does this stuff where like, oh well, they're talking from very far away, so they can't actually see each other, but they're talking. Like, why? Why do that? Just don't have them in the story.
Yeah, I know.
You had Mara Jade. She's interesting enough. You had the stormtroopers that left the Empire. That was cool. That was compelling. That was all you needed. You only needed those two
Yeah.
characters, and you forced them in. You forced Luke Han and Leia in it for some reason. And for some reason, Zahn cannot write the OT characters for the life of him if it's not past episode 6. He's horrendous at it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things.
Like it
Yeah.
baffles me how he could be so spot on to the characters and like how they would act 5 years after episode 6. Like it's so perfect. Like I can visualize this
Mm.
movie that never was in that Thrawn trilogy. And then you read that duology and you're like, you don't understand these characters at all. I'm like, why?
Yeah. Why? Circling back to Maul though,
Yeah, sorry.
I think it would have been weird if we saw Maul in that cancelled game
Oh yeah, that would. I don't think that would have been. When
with
was that supposed to
Talon
take
and
place?
everything.
No.
I think it was meant to be later on, and it was supposed to be a clone or something, but it still would have been just really weird.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because if we're counting all the EU into this, there's already been like what there was a thing, there was like a apparition of him that Vader had to fight. There was an actual
Yeah,
like, I think there already was a clone that Luke killed or something, in like a Star Wars
yeah,
game
and there
or
was
something.
already we saw Proxy become Darth Maul, which isn't the same thing, but
Yeah.
the information was there as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting though with Talon because it that would have been interesting to see because after Legacy 2, you have like a lot of the Sith die, but I
Mm.
tried looking very hard in panels for specific characters, and there is not Darth Talon or the whatever the hell it is from the 70s Star Wars, because there's that like one guy Nile or whatever, I forget the species name,
Oh yeah,
but
Darth Nihil or
they're
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're still alive. So there's stuff
mm.
you could have done there with that. So having the game set with her, you could have just set it after that, and that could have worked.
Yeah,
But
and they were doing that, and then yeah, George. By the end, I feel like he meddled too much in some of the stories like that. Like
yeah,
with 1313, they basically done all of the game, and then he went, "Make it Boba Fett." I'm like, why?
yeah, that's fair.
Oh well. Yeah, mixed feelings. I mean, I haven't been keen on Maul returning in TCW generally, but it happened, so it is.
I mean, yeah, I get that. I mean, I like what they did with it. So, I
Mm,
mean, because with the character we get so little of, it was nice to see more of that.
yeah.
I
And I
mean,
guess that was the intention, but I
yeah.
felt like he got sliced in half. It's sort of have to.
Okay, but there's been so many
It's
Star Wars
hard to
characters that have survived stuff they
suspend my
shouldn't have.
disbelief. Yeah,
Okay. Also,
I mean, there was
Darth
also
Vader
the
got sliced in half and then also started getting burned to death, and he still
well, he got
survived.
his limbs chopped off rather than his internal
Okay.
organs being
Okay, that's
cut
fair.
off.
Uh, well, General
I mean,
Grievous
you
is
get
just a heart.
Scion and a
General
couple
Grievous
of
General
things.
Grievous is like just a heart and like a part of a face in a robot body,
Yeah.
and he's alive. So I mean, I
Mm.
don't know. It's not too much of a stretch for me.
And I just have to suspend my disbelief a little bit. I think especially you're taking EO in where Sidious was only really teaching him specific things that he needed to know as a tool
Yeah,
compared to the wider aspects of the Force.
yeah, that's
It's
true.
just a bit of a stretch for
Well,
me.
he was an alien, and Palpatine's a hardcore speciesist in the EU, so there's no way he was gonna ever keep him regardless.
Yeah.
So, and once Anakin came into the picture, that was it. Like Dooku
Yeah.
throughout the whole Clone Wars was only just somebody to be around till he could have Anakin. So I
Yeah.
love that about the Darth Plagueis novel. Like the very end, he's like I'm gonna keep Dooku around right now because like he's one of the most powerful guys right now,
Mm.
and he's
And
willing.
he's going to be useful for my plans.
But like I know for a fact I'm not keeping this guy. Like when I can, you will
Mm.
be mine.
And
So
you go to Revenge of the Sith. Yep, he did.
yeah. So yeah.
It's interesting. You just see on Dooku's face that he was manipulated in a similar way to Anakin as well.
Yeah.
Because he had such trust in the Emperor that he was in a state of shock and he couldn't say anything before his head was chopped off.
Dooku's interesting. Definitely wish see it's another thing if the EU got continued. You could have a whole young adult series with Qui-Gon and Dooku, which I would love to see by
Yeah.
Jude Watson. So because that's a whole
Yeah,
era
it
of
would have
stuff
been
that we just
cool.
don't know about.
For sure, they
But,
could have gone back and also to Yoda and Qui-Gon and stuff like that. Oh,
uh,
Yoda and Dooku, I mean,
yeah. Well, I don't know if the thing with that is
if they wanted
because
to.
I feel like then you'd want to get into Yoda's backstory if you were gonna have an entire series focused on the two of them.
Eh,
And
You,
if you're keeping
yeah,
it
you.
George's wishes, then you can't do that.
What I would do is, I mean, you don't reveal anything about Yoda's species, but you could reveal more about some of the things Yoda's done in his life as a Jedi.
Yeah, maybe I can see that.
Which there are, like, one of the planets has a statue to Yoda somewhere because he helped them, I think.
Hmm.
I forget exactly where that was, but that's one of the things that goes, oh, it's hinted that he's done stuff in the past.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Good. Yeah.
It's interesting because I read Acts of War Jedi Council,
Mm.
the comic run. So it was really cool to see all the Jedi that you're gonna see in the Clone Wars before there's like a big war going on. Like there was
Yeah.
a crisis, but it wasn't like a galaxy spanning. So it was cool to see all
Yeah.
of them, and it was interesting to see Yoda like he's not too much younger here because it's like a couple years before Episode 1,
Mm.
but I don't know. It's always cool getting Yoda's like see him like his thought process, but I definitely don't want to like know too much about his history either because I think some of the best parts of him is not knowing a lot about how he came to be how he is. So,
Mm-hmm. Hey,
but
Dooku was like 83
yeah, he was old.
in Attack of the Clones. But that's also a thing of like Yoda's lifespan. He has 800 years. 80, even if it was like 60 years. Well, actually, if Dooku was his Padawan, it was more like it was 20 years or less, even
Yeah,
depending on how quickly he ended up becoming a knight that they were together.
I didn't
You
realize till
probably
I started
still wouldn't
reading.
get a huge glimpse
So
of Yoda's
yeah.
story there to
I
look
didn't
into his
realize that
background.
the Qui-Gon Jinn was like 60 years old by the time of Episode 1. Like, dang, you're looking
Yeah,
good
he
for
aged
60.
well. But then also you get like in Truce of Bakura, Epi Belden's like 132. And
Yeah.
they go, yeah, she's not that old. She's got some life left. She's got some.
They
So
got back then
humans
stuff.
also live longer.
Yeah, for sure. I still found it a little
Which,
bizarre though that Han was still able to do stuff by the time of, like Fate of the Jedi. Like, bro, maybe you
yeah.
should just fly a ship. I don't know if you can keep fighting like this. And
I
I get
mean,
that you
it's
can.
Han, so it's
Yeah,
probably stubborn. It's probably stubborn.
yeah, yeah. I was like,
And when
Luke and
it
Leia,
comes to force
they're Jedi,
users,
so
yeah,
but
when it comes to
Han's just
force
a normal
users, they
dude.
can boost themselves with the force, and Han's
Yeah,
just like, I'll keep up with them. You know, like,
yeah. I
that's
will
where I
do what I gotta
feel
do.
like. I mean, going back to a topic from last week a little bit, that's where I feel like he would go out in a blaze of glory because he just wants to keep doing stuff.
Did you see me and Quinlan's
I
discussion
didn't
on
end
it?
up catching that properly. No.
Oh, well, here was my idea that I came up with. Um,
Mm,
with it, it's not a blaze of glory for me. I felt like I can't have these two characters die terrible deaths because
mm.
they've already lost so much, and I felt like they deserved
Yeah,
some
that's fair.
peace. And so my idea was, Han's really old by this point, especially since he's 10 years older than Luke and Leia. So um, I don't know, he can kind of just feel it, like he knows like I'm gonna croak soon. And so it gets to the point where he tells Leia, you know, I love you. And then she says, I know, to harken back to episode 5. Get those tears starting for the audience. And they have their banters, they always do back and forth a little bit. And, he ends it with being like, I've loved spending my entire life with you, but I gotta be with my first baby if I'm gonna croak. And she understands and she lets it happen. So he goes with the Falcon. He goes into space, no
Mm,
destination in mind. He's just in the stars, with his ship, with his baby, his first baby. And he's enjoying looking back on the memories, trying to ignore the bad parts of of his life. Just think of all the good that he's had in it. And he's smiling, and maybe he sees Jason and Anakin when at their best, before he
mm,
goes, and then he's just smiling and he's breathing. You see his chest go, and slowly just stops, and he's just in space with the Falcon, and it's over.
mm.
I just
I
thought
think you
that'd be
did
kind of cool.
mention. I think you expanded on it a little bit near the end, but you did mention that last month as well
Oh, did I?
because you came up with it on my stream. I think.
Oh, did I? Was that it? I don't remember.
That's cool.
Did I? I think I might have. It's hard to keep track, but I like that was my
Yeah,
idea. And then
yeah,
with
that's cool.
Lando, it was something kind of similar, but he's with his son, because I was thinking he probably isn't that good of a father, because I don't know, he just doesn't seem like someone who'd be a good father. So
Mhm,
maybe there's some reconciliation in like a novel, or like Lock
mm.
his son's a little bit older now, and he's going to become like one of the characters that hangs out with uh, the younger characters like Ben and Jaina and everyone, and
Oh yeah,
they go on like one last adventure, but he still doesn't like die in like battle or something, because I he's a swindler. He's not going to go out in a blaze of glory.
no,
He's no
he
hero.
probably wouldn't.
But they reconcile. They're having a good time, laughing. Maybe they're drinking, playing a game of sabacc, and as it'd be kind of similar to that X-wing novel Iron Fist, where they're kind of like just
Oh
laughing
yeah.
and having fun. And as his son goes and looks back at him, he's gone. But I don't know. Maybe I'm too depressing,
Mm.
but I think those would be cool. And I think
Yeah,
Luke
I
should
mean,
go on a blaze of glory probably. Leia I'm
mm,
50-50 on. I think she'd be
yeah,
like the new like Yaddle or Yoda, where she's like taking care of the younglings, for the
yeah,
Jedi and
that
stuff,
makes sense to me too. I mean,
and
I
training
feel
the new
like
generation.
it. A lot of it depends on what would officially be decided by
Yeah, yeah.
Lucasfilm and approved, which is
Mm,
the thing where you go. Even if fans write a continuation of the EU, Lucasfilm always approved the ideas that were in the EU, so it really doesn't feel like it's proper EU.
yeah,
Because a fan fiction continuation is one of the ideas that I think, because of the thoughts like CJH shared about not one, well, the time of new EU novels has passed basically, and people wanting more stories,
yeah. Well,
and it's too
definitely.
late now.
Well, definitely,
Is
if
that
they
there's a fan
continue the EU,
continuation there?
if they continue the EU and like Han went on a blaze of glory, I mean, that's what happens. That's what I'm going to accept as the story, because I follow anything that Legends puts out. I'm just saying like what I think would be a good way for
Yeah,
him to go out. But obviously, whatever, if they actually did continue it, I'd just be happy that they're actually continuing the stories past
Paying
Crucible, right?
attention to
That's a
it, yeah.
huge, because that's a huge time gap.
I mean,
Just not,
for sure, I may be a bit more critical of new stories coming out.
yeah,
Especially when it comes to, we know the history of how they build up continuity methods and ways to keep track of things and the quality of storytelling.
well, I think if you had like only like 4 people writing
But
it consistently, and they were all talking to one another, you could probably
yeah,
make it work. So
that's the thing is, like, I'm more critical because they have the example and they know how to do things well.
and they don't do it.
Yeah,
That's
which
fair.
is like Marvel 108. It's like
Well, I haven't
a
read
bit.
it, so I don't have an opinion
If
on
you
that.
go back to my thoughts on it, if you have a read of it and then go to my thoughts on it, that
Mm,
I had a couple of, I had my separate review and then I had a discussion with my mate Jeff.
mm,
Then yeah, there's some funky things that I go. Mm.
mm.
Because I think I saw some cover on Amazon that suggested this Star Wars comic and it had Dominus Targ on the front of it. I'm like, wait, what? And it was a new canon comic.
Yeah. Wait, so you
I'm
have an
like,
issue with
they
issue
did that too.
108, or just that they use characters from
It's
Marvel
issue
in?
108.
Mm,
Because something, it's a continuation of the 107
yeah,
issues of the original Marvel run, which makes sense because they did it for the anniversary. But I feel like they could have just done better, basically.
oh, oh. From the few reviews I've seen it that were non-spoiler, a lot of people seem to relatively like it, but I
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
know.
it's still a fun story, don't get me wrong. I still enjoyed reading it a bit, but yeah.
Well, isn't a lot
I,
of the
I
Marvel 70s
also
comics like
got,
hit or miss?
oh, just depends, but they have the standard of comics now, and they have
Oh,
Dark
yeah.
Horse in between.
Well, yeah, but it's supposed to be a continuation of the 70s comic, though, right?
Yeah.
Not
I read through all
modern
the
ones.
107 comics before
Yeah.
reading it as well. And I also didn't get my copy until later, whereas I feel like a lot of the reviews that may have come out earlier may have just been like, we want to paint it in a positive light completely so that
Yeah.
we get an EU continuation for really enjoying it.
Yeah, maybe.
Which, I mean, that's possibly one of the reasons, but I'm sure that some people wouldn't have done that as well.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things as well I see with casual EU fans. Actually, I heard from Jeff as well because he's in a few more admin group chats on Facebook and stuff. They don't buy the new stuff
Yeah.
that comes out. Like, they don't buy 108. Like, he was the only person that bought 108 in the other group chats he was in for admins of EU Facebook groups.
Yeah.
And then he also helped me because I pre-ordered one, but then they said, "Oh, sorry, we can't get it because it's been too long." I'm like, "Dang it!" But yeah, that's one of the sad things as well. Is you see EU Facebook groups which are like, "Cool, more EU fans and whatnot," but then they still have admins and stuff that aren't really fully what I would call EU fans because they also only read a few of the things.
Yeah.
And I would say they could be casual fans, of course, but then
Well, like
they're definitely not hardcore.
someone who only reads the Thrawn trilogy is a fan of the Thrawn trilogy. They're not a fan of the EU. The EU expands
I mean,
beyond just the
if they
Thrawn trilogy.
choose to say that they're an EU fan, then I can't
Yeah.
say they're not. Is what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah, I get that. But if you've only read one thing from it, then you're a fan of the whatever book you read. You're not a fan of the
Yeah.
whole thing because you haven't read the whole thing.
Yes,
So
true.
I think that's fair to say. I don't think that's a jerk thing to say.
No,
Like,
that's
right?
fair.
If I've only read, I don't know, Darth Plagueis, I'm a big fan of Darth Plagueis.
But it's
That's it.
astonishing that they become admins of Facebook groups that are purely focused on the EU.
That's so true. I'm an admin for or a moderator, but for one of them, but
I just
only
lumped them
because
together at the moment.
yeah,
London.
yeah. Well, it's because I was posting a lot because I was trying to get my freaking YouTube to get some occasional more views because I don't get any views on them.
Mm.
But
Oh, look, the EU is niche. Welcome to my world. Yeah, the EU is niche.
and so they're like, this guy's posting a lot, so we'll just make him a moderator, I guess. I was like, okay.
Okay, then.
The most annoying thing about it though is like, so the Facebook group has like 3 questions. Just answer 3 questions. Who's your favorite character in Legends? Who's your favorite like villain or something? And like, what's your favorite era or something like that?
Mm.
And there's a lot of times where I get notifications on my phone about like somebody trying to join the group, and like, can you answer a question? Because they don't answer any of them. They just want to join the group. I'll be right back.
Well,
Sorry.
yeah, no worries. Well, one of the. Oh, I'll wait for him to return because I was talking to him about it. Yeah, I find that Facebook is really odd in that way because amongst the big EU groups, you don't get many people that actually know the EU. And that's also a little ranty bit that you could do for casual EU fans is that it seems like they're the best people that you can get to be admins and moderators of this Facebook group compared to people that know the content more, maybe. But I mean, I can understand if people don't have time to be admins and mods for sure. But it's still one of those things, it's like weird. So yeah, one of those things that happens. I think it's just really odd that it does that. But yeah, I guess I can go back to this until he returns. What'd you cuss? They actually kept her alive after Order 66, though, apparently. So, hey, she died in Order 66 in the EU. But there is apparently more of her in the new canon than in the EU because she survived afterwards. Don't know the details, but she apparently survived afterwards. And stuff like that. Well, while people are watching, oh yeah, she used a lightsaber gun. I'm gonna mention my second YouTube channel because shameless plugs. I'm going to share my other. I have seen about it. My second YouTube channel, which has my professional film work. If you are not aware, I put one of my short films up there. The other is still in the edit and getting the final music. But this is where I'm going to put my more professional film work. I've got stuff linked from outside the channel that I've been involved in helping edit and stuff like that at college. Like, yeah, jump over to that if you want, because I think it'd be really cool if anyone likes watching more professional type short films and stuff compared to Star Wars to be able to follow it. And it's called Black Indo Productions. There's a story to that if I get enough people asking what it is, I will do a video on this channel explaining it. And maybe see if I can find the old workbook. Yeah, I'll see if Mum finds it.
Yo, is that your other channel?
Because it's something connected to school. Yeah, this is my other channel. I'm putting my more professional film work on there.
Oh, I see.
That I do.
You're doing some self-promotion.
Yes, because I'm like, what else am I going to say while you're not here?
Fair enough.
So that's cool.
My mother was telling me about, because I live in California, and I guess some West Nile, like a mosquito or whatever, they found a dead bird somewhere over in California. So she's like, "Oh, be careful now." I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna still live my life. Then. If they kill me, they kill me. It's whatever. But
yeah,
I don't know.
But yeah,
I just don't try to get afraid of stuff like that. When how do you live life if you're afraid all the time of it? But anyway, go. Sorry.
yeah. But yeah, that's my second YouTube channel for professional film
You
work.
should definitely subscribe to the Black Indo Black Indo
Yeah,
production.
it's Black and Window.
Oh, Black. Oh, I'm freaking stupid.
Black and-
That makes more sense.
Actually, that's one short film I'm not gonna be putting up because it was my first semester short film, and it's not that good. But I use it for the banner because it's a cool shot. But yes, that is a mate of mine that used to look like that. Since he cut his hair and changed it so that it doesn't look like Jesus. But yeah, in that it was him playing Jesus, which is funny. Yeah, cool.
Your stuff's like serious stuff, right? Do you do comedy?
My second short film they're going to put on there will be comedy because it's a comedic short film. That one's a bit more serious, but of course you can still have a laugh at parts of it because I'm in it because I was shorthanded on the day that I had to film it, so I filled in for my character.
Oh.
I should put a link to that YouTube channel in the chat so that people can just click on it.
All the stuff I do is like super stupid, so
yeah. I mean, it's a thing of like I'm studying film and TV here, and I was trying my hand at a different sort of film.
We break the camera rule all the time. We're experimental filmmakers. You know the 360, like you can't go past
the 180-degree rule.
Yeah, you can't go past the line. We do that. I don't care. I just.
I mean, it depends on your intention. It's like in The Dark Knight. It works well because Joker's trying to flip it back on Batman, and it's a flipping around of who's the actual evil person sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, hey! That's Chris. Welcome. Nice to see you. Oh, this is a good time to stream. People are joining. Yay. But yeah, I was mentioning... What was the last thing I mentioned before you left?
That is a good question. I don't remember.
Hey, there we go. There's a... I mean, it was connected with Facebook groups and admins and stuff. But I was going to mention something, and then I was like, wait, I'll hold on to that, and then I forgot it.
Right, I was talking about being a moderator, and then I got called away. So then you were going to say something, but...
Yeah, I've lost it now.
Yeah. Sometimes you just know coming back.
Yeah. For sure. Oh, well. It's nearing the 2-hour mark anyway, so I probably should finish soon.
I was probably going to call off pretty soon because I need to get to bed. So
yeah, so cool.
Because for me, it's not like 9:55 p.m. I got to go to work at like 9 tomorrow. So
yeah, and it's nearly 3 p.m. here.
So
it's interesting timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that's cool.
Yeah. I think I'll actually use this opportunity to leave myself out of here. So I hope you have a good rest of your day. And
yes, I hope you have good sleep and good day tomorrow and all that.
And if all of you haven't subscribed to that second channel, what are you doing? Get on it. Go subscribe.
You must be dreaming. Yeah.
If they're not doing it, I'll come find them.
Yeah.
I'll
have to share that reference now. But yeah, all right. Have a good one.
See you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, see ya.
See ya.
Oh, I can't find a good YouTube clip of it. It's from an Aussie movie called The Castle. And one of the scenes is just like, mate, what are you doing? they want this much for this, because there's this guy that always looks at the ads in the paper, and he goes, "Oh, they're asking for this. What do you think?" "Ah, they're dreaming." You best start believing in Callum's second channel. You're in it. Yeah, that was fun. I like these chill discussions where this will be my monthly streams where I sort of have a vague topic that is at the start that I was thinking I can at least talk for 20 minutes or half an hour on it. And then we end up talking about whatever a bit. And it's nice I can share the music in the background that way at least. And hey, if any of you have good discussion topics you want to see on these streams, then put them in the chat and I'll see if I can get around to them next time, because that'll be good fun. But yeah, I'm going to stop sharing that because then it will probably be the end of things. As you can see, I also like some manga, anime. Maybe one day, if I find that I don't really feel like talking about a Star Wars topic on a monthly stream, I will change it to talking about something like that. Or I can't come up with a good idea anyway, because then that would be fun as well. And expand upon some of the topics here, because I've gotten much more into them in recent times than continually just reading Star Wars stuff. But yeah. Check out the second channel, it's good. Here's zombie noise. Hey, you need to come here to be part of the cast. You can be my singles buddy. So, because I live alone, I can nominate a singles buddy to come over and keep me company. Do it. Horrors and aspects of stars. Well, Death Troop, that can be good, yeah. Definitely for next month, because it'll be October. And that'll be Spooktober with Halloween for all the Americans coming up. So yeah, that's a good one. I'll use that next month then. That's cool. I like that. There we go. Next one's decided. So that'll be good. 8 cats and 6 parrots. Well, you're so specific on the numbers. No, I don't have the money to look after all those animals. Just go wild. I'm actually pretty low on my budget at the moment, so please help support me. Sort of half joking about the begging, but also I'm low on money, so any support does help. I do have a Patreon down below. No one ended up subscribing to the Patreon, so I haven't done anything on it. It sort of fell flat, but hey. It is what it is. Anyway, yes. I'll finish up now. So thank you guys for joining and watching. It has been a good time. And I will catch you next month on live streaming on YouTube. Hopefully I get some of my other videos out a bit more. And I will get you over on Twitch. If you manage to get the right time zone. This isn't the normal time zone I stream on Twitch. Yeah, I think they're just funny. It's different type of content too. Oh yeah. Before I go, I have worked out to record my gameplay separate to my webcam. I'm hoping to make some fun edits when I next record gameplay. When I get around to doing that, I need to really just stick to a blooming schedule and make myself do it. That's the thing that's really holding me back at the moment. Anyway, next time we'll talk about horror on my monthly streams. I usually start 2 hours before now, so set that time on, what day would it be? It'll be for me the 2nd of October, but for others it'll be the 1st. Depending on your time zone. And I will catch you next time. It's been good. Eri!